Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween, ghosts and goblins!
Goblins and ghosties and pod people. This is Bev.
And this is Diz.
And this is
Trigger warning.
This is your special Halloween episode coming at you.
Ooh.
It's not going to be on the Halloween, but it's close enough.
Very close to the Halloween.
Yes, very close.
So close.
Okay,
Stop
that's
doing
that now.
We sound ridiculous.
Well, yes, we do. But that's okay.
That's all right.
We're getting in the spirit. Okay. So we have, obviously, a Halloween thing for you today.
Yeah. We have a theme, guys. It's Halloween.
Yes, we do. We have Halloween stories for you.
Uh-huh.
We got a little mishmash like we did with our Christmas episode in July. And so we're going to back and forth it, and it's going to be wonderful and fun.
We
and
hope
you're
you
just
enjoy
not going to
it.
know what to do with yourselves when it's over, except maybe cry, because mine are kind of sad.
Well, mine's not great. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so welcome.
We're so happy you could join us.
Yes, this is the way it is. So I guess I'll start with my trigger warnings, and then I'm going to start doing some stories.
Sounds like a plan. I like it.
Do we want to do all of our trigger warnings at once, or do you want to do them story by story?
Should we do them all?
I'm going to do them all, because I'm afraid I'll forget and not
Do it.
go back and do
Yeah,
them. So
just do them
I'm going to
all
do
for that.
alls of them.
Okay.
So this is going to be a long list, but just
great.
keep in mind, this is alls of them for me, and then you can do alls of them for yo.
Right.
Okay. Matricide. So killing your mom. Decapitation. Accidental suicide by a child. Intentional suicide by an adult.
Oh my gosh.
Burns. Rape. Death penalty. Execution. Child abuse. Substance abuse. Child sexual abuse. I think that's all I've got.
Crikey.
Top that.
I don't have that many.
Okay, go for it.
I have, obviously, death in general.
Uh-huh.
Bodily injuries.
Okay.
A little bit of homophobia, because we're back in the old days.
Oh, great.
It's not a whole lot, but it's just like, eh. And then I also have death of a child. And there's one I forgot, but you reminded me when you said it, but now I can't remember what it is. Hold on.
Death penalty, rape, child
Death
abuse.
penalty.
Death penalty. Okay.
Yes, that's what it was.
Wow. We are loaded and ready to go.
You guys.
Woo-hoo. Sounds like a good time, right?
Yeah.
All right. I guess I will get started.
Jump right in.
We're going to jump right in.
I like it.
A sign read, "Luxury apartments for rent" on a street in Farmingdale, New York in October of 2014.
Okay.
Others who lived on the street noticed someone had pulled a prank, and it was pretty distasteful. They'd put a fake body in the street, its head on the opposite side of the road, looking like one of those shrunken heads that people put up for Halloween, according to one neighbor.
Oh, dear.
When someone investigated a little further, it was close to 8 p.m. on October 29th. To their horror, they realized the body and the head were not fake. Patricia Ward, age 66, was a Farmingdale State College professor who had moved into an apartment on that street only 3 months before. She and her 35-year-old son, Derek Ward, had been quiet neighbors with no complaints against them, no domestic squabbles or anything like that reported to the police. But Derek had a history of mental illness and had a criminal record. In 2003, he had been convicted of criminal mischief, for which he'd received probation.
Mm-hmm.
In 2006, he was found guilty of criminal possession of a weapon, a handgun, and possession of a controlled substance, 100 Valium pills.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he did end up in jail for that second one, but it was a very small amount of time. It was less than a month, I think. I tried to find the amount of time again. I couldn't find it again. That's what happens when you don't log your pages when you first find them.
Right.
But Derek had never really been violent, obviously. Like,
Right,
he had the
yeah.
gun, but apparently criminal mischief doesn't mean that you,
violent
did
mischief.
anything bad.
Yeah.
So like I said before, there'd never been any complaints from other people in their apartment building or anything like that. Patricia and Derek kind of kept to themselves. They weren't rude or anything. One neighbor said that Patricia would walk her small white dog every day. And, if they made eye contact or something, she'd kind of give a half smile, but she was kind of a fairly, serious person.
Okay.
So maybe that came from being a professor for 28 years.
Or
it could have been from dealing with some other tough times in her life. She and Derek's father had been divorced for a long time. Her ex-husband was not around. Her other son, Robert John Ward, had died in 1997 at the age of 24.
Oh, my.
And I couldn't find what his cause of death was.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then sadly, Patricia's father, so Derek's grandfather, Carlo Lubrano, had passed away in August of 2013. So
wasn't very
a year or a little over a year before. So it's not known exactly what happened that day to trigger the attack.
Mm-hmm.
What we do know is that at some point, Derek Ward used a knife to viciously stab his mother. He beat and stabbed her until she was dead. Then he sat with her body for a few minutes in the blood-soaked room before cutting her head off with a knife.
Oh my gosh.
After that, he dragged her body out of the apartment, down the stairs, and into the street, carrying her head with him as well. He left her body laying on one side of the street with her arms laying straight by her sides. That's one of the reasons why people thought that it was a dummy or something for a Halloween prank, because her arms were straight by her sides, up against her body.
Wow.
And I think she was face down, the front of her body was on the pavement. So it just looked like somebody had just dragged a mannequin or something out there like that. Then he used her head as a soccer ball, basically, and just kind of casually kicked it across the street about 20 feet, where it came to a stop. And then Derek wandered off. He walked about a mile to a set of train tracks, and then he stepped in front of a commuter train, taking his own life. Derek obviously had mental health struggles, which his mother had been trying to help him with. He had been unmedicated for several days before the murder-suicide, or for quite a while. I couldn't tell how long, because, again, the sources were kind of back and forth, and they weren't very specific on that. The problem was, he was too old to be on her health insurance. Again, he was 35. But they were having a really hard time trying to find a psychiatrist that accepted his Medicaid. One psychiatrist had quoted them $200 for a 20-minute visit. According to family, though, Patricia was only 2 days away from getting him the help that he needed. He had an appointment scheduled with a psychiatrist 2 days later. It was a professional who could prescribe his medication and get him back on track. Now, I don't know if that was the psychiatrist that quoted them $200 for that 20-minute visit.
Right.
But either way, it came too late. So, despite his history of mental illness, like I said, he'd never been violent before. But many people believe that a combination of things kind of led to this mental breakdown. The loss of his grandfather the year before, and his lack of medication contributed probably. One forensic psychologist suggested that his close relationship with his mother may have actually played a part in his actions that day too. In an interview with Vice magazine, forensic psychologist Barbara Kerwin explained that a son killing his mother usually involves a Norman Bates kind of relationship.
Okay, yeah.
In these situations, there's no father figure around, and the only person that the son can rely on is his mother. They're the best of friends. She's his confidant and protector, and the only person that he can trust. She sees him as kind and caring, and she cannot see how mentally ill he is. And although it's a codependent relationship, the son eventually starts to see his mother as a, quote, prison guard. She's always around, always making decisions for him. He can't do anything without her say or without her input. He relies on her, but she's also overbearing. And according to the psychologist Barbara Kerwin, all of this can lead to a sudden, quote, violent breaking point.
That sounds exactly like what might have happened.
Yes. Generally, the chances of a son killing his mother decrease as he ages. Most cases of matricide happen when the son is in his teens, like 15 to 19.
Okay.
So Derek's case stands out since he was halfway through his 30s when he killed his mom, Patricia Ward, late in the evening on October 29th, 2014.
Heck, oh. And the fact that we couldn't ask him later.
Yeah.
it's like he left a manifesto or anything in the apartment or whatever.
Right. One of the articles said that she dropped a fork and he couldn't handle the sound of it. And I'm like, well, there's no way that they know that because
How
nobody
would
was in the
they?
apartment. So then I was like, well, maybe I misread it and they were talking about that was another time
Where
that had happened and they told the family. But then somebody else said that other people didn't really know how severe his issues were. So I don't know. Most of the articles just had the same information over and over again.
and over.
So
Wow. Man, that is just so extreme too.
yeah. It wasn't just a like I can't stand it and I stabbed her a few times. It was
Okay, and also this is gross, but the thought of actually cutting a head off, that takes
time.
strength and time.
Yeah, that's not an easy thing to do at all.
No, it's not. And I mean, that's like what psychosis.
So he must not have been in a frenzy. He must have just I don't know. But
and nobody saw it. Well, like
they were in the apartment.
But like he drug her body down the steps and stuff.
But I think she was wrapped in a sheet. One thing said that she was wrapped in a sheet, but other stuff didn't. The neighbors said that they saw like brown hair, like for the head parts, all brown hair and stuff, and they thought it was one of those shrunken head type decorations.
But nobody saw him like bringing her body down in a sheet or whatever.
But even so, they thought it was a Halloween thing.
That's true.
And it was in front of where somebody else had decorations like cobwebs and ghosts, and they actually had like a Halloween display.
Oh my god, maybe it was Halloween that also like tipped him over or something.
Maybe.
Along with other stuff, you know? That's crazy. Well, wow, what a way to start out. Heck on, girl.
All right, you tell me yours now.
Okay, let me tell you mine.
Got any decapitations up in there?
No.
Good.
However, I just wanted to preface both of my stories by saying trick-or-treating can be hazardous to your health.
Oh, Lord.
Okay?
Oh, boy.
This story
I remember trick-or-treating once and my princess dress got really damp at the bottom and it felt gross.
Ew.
Is that all? Because it was rainy and the grass was wet.
I feel like it used to rain a lot on Halloween.
Yeah. Is that what you were talking about?
No, not exactly.
Okay. Because that sucked.
This is a little bit more extreme.
Okay. All right, go for it.
Okay, so this story is called The Last Trick-or-Treater.
Okay.
Okay? So, it's Halloween night in Los Angeles in 1957.
Okay.
35-year-old Peter Fabiano is a beauty shop owner. He lives with his wife, Betty, and his 13-year-old stepdaughter, Judy. And let's see, Judy's name is actually Judy Solomon.
Okay.
And they live in Sun Valley, which is like a suburb of Los Angeles. So they had spent the evening handing out candy. I guess maybe Judy didn't go trick-or-treating because she's 13. I don't know.
Might have been. But felt like she was too old for it.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. He's 13, you're a teenager.
Yeah. It's kind of that in between where you start feeling like, I'm too old for that, but you're kind of like, I want some candy.
Yeah, so my daughter is 13 and we're not trick-or-treating this year.
It's that age where they start to finally feel like, that they don't want to anymore.
I mean, I don't think she'd be opposed to it. But so they had spent the evening handing out candy.
Okay.
By 11 p.m., the entire household had gone to bed. Just after 11, they hear the doorbell ring. So Peter gets up, heads downstairs to the door, grabs the leftover bowl of candy on his way through, and he's thinking, this must be a really late trick-or-treater.
Yeah.
But, no big deal.
Right.
And as he's opening the door, he says, it's a little late for this, isn't it? And there's a dark figure standing there on the porch. They reply, no, and point a gun at him. Then they fire a shot into his chest, and they run away. So Peter falls down just inside the doorway. Betty, who had been laying in bed waiting for him and listening to him go through the house and everything, hears the shot, runs downstairs to him. The daughter, Judy, she's also hearing all this commotion. She runs down to them. And then she actually runs a couple of houses down to a neighbor's house, Bud Alper. He is actually part of the Valley Division of the LAPD.
Oh, okay.
So she's telling him what happened. So he actually just calls where he works and is like, hey, this is happening. So officers get there really fast.
I wonder if the family actually has a phone or not, or
I
if
don't
that's
know.
why she ran down there, or if
I
she just because
wonder.
she knew that he was
And maybe
police.
Betty's like, hey, go tell Bud or whatever. Who
Maybe,
knows?
yeah.
Maybe it's multiple
I mean,
things.
phones weren't everywhere.
Yeah, it's not
but at the
like
same
not
time,
every single
yeah.
house had one, but I would think that they would though. It
Yeah.
just blows my mind not having one.
Because I would have been afraid to go outside.
Yeah.
Or send my daughter down the street, my 13-year-old daughter down the street after someone just shot her father and went away.
I know. It's crazy. But
anyway.
I don't know.
Sorry,
that's
sorry,
okay.
didn't mean to interrupt.
So the police come and ambulance and they transport him to the hospital, but unfortunately he dies from the gunshot. Investigators get there. They are looking at the scene. They see no spent shells. And they're looking around and it doesn't seem to be a robbery because it's like, you know, he's coming to the door, but it's obvious the lights are out.
Yeah.
He's not going to have money on him.
Right.
He's not going to have like anything.
He literally had a bowl of candy. That's it. Yeah.
And even if you didn't think he'd have candy, it's 11 p.m. on Halloween night. Like, what do you expect? Investigators are looking around and they're like, you know what? This seems more like a gangland, quote unquote, style killing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, all right, we got to start looking to see if Peter's involved with the mob or the mafia. Because it could have been a retaliation or whatever. So they start digging into his past, but they really didn't find anything. All he'd had was bookmaking. In 1948, but had no other offenses since.
Bookmaking is basically like you take bets or something.
Something like a bookie, I think. That's all it said.
Yeah.
So it was like almost 10 years.
And that's where you kind of like keep track of like the bets and stuff, I think.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't do the gambling thing anyway.
He wasn't involved in the mafia or the mob. So they're like, okay, well, that's not it. So they're talking to neighbors, and a 15-year-old boy in the neighborhood tells police that he had seen a car leaving the area at a, quote, high rate of speed around the time of the shooting, but had no other information about the car. So the police were like, well, the person had to have left in a car. Like, we're pretty sure that they left in a car. So what kind of car could it be? We don't know. So, of course, they're going to look at Betty because everyone always has to
you look at the spouse, of course.
Right? So, Betty tells the police that Peter didn't have any enemies and they had actually met when he was working as a bartender after he had been discharged from the Marine Corps. They married in, I don't know if it was 1954 or 55 because different sources said different things. Mm-hmm. And they owned the two beauty salons together.
They hadn't even been together that long.
No. She was a divorcee. She had 2 kids. Okay. Judy, who was 13, and Richard Solomon. So he was in the Navy, so I'm assuming he's at least 18. Mm-hmm. They didn't give an age. And he had actually been there earlier that night with them, but had to get back to the base. So he had left like well before the 11 p.m. to get back to base on time so he wouldn't be late or whatever.
Right.
So, you know, normal family.
Right.
Whatever. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, okay, well, this seems
so they
like a
checked
happy
to make
family.
sure he went back to base and got there on time?
I have no idea. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
That's not a thing.
Okay. I'm suspicious of this dude.
Be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Okay. All right. So they're talking, they're digging, and then they find out about an issue that had caused Betty to leave for a month. So not so perfect after all. Mm-hmm. Joan Rabble was a 40-year-old divorcee who was a photographer and a sometimes cosmetic saleswoman.
Okay.
She had been employed in one of the salons that the Fabianos owned and had let Betty stay with her when she and Peter had had problems previously.
Okay.
So she and Betty were close and were thinking it was a romantic relationship.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
In 1957.
Oh boy.
So Peter didn't like this. He didn't like the relationship that they had. And he's like, I don't want her coming around anymore. And Betty's like, excuse me, you don't get to tell me who I can be friends with. Mm-hmm. You don't get to do that. And she leaves. and this is when she's gone for a month.
And she stays with this
And she
friend, quote unquote friend.
Right. So a month later, she comes back. She's like, I want to come back. I won't be friends with Joan anymore. Blah, blah, blah. So she comes back. Okay, so investigators like, well, let's go talk to Joan then. So they talk to her, and she's like, well, I don't own a car. And since they were sure that the shooter got away in a car, they're like, okay. And she's like, I've never touched a gun before. I don't know anything about them. Don't have a gun. I don't own one. And it's just her at her house.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay. They start digging, and they find out that she doesn't own a car, but she had borrowed a car recently.
Okay.
And she had failed to mention that. And she's like, oh,
that just slipped her mind.
I just forgot about it. But the person who owned the car noticed extra miles on the odometer than what
should
was
have been there. Okay.
Okay.
She said she was just taking it to the grocery store, but I swear she could have driven all the way to the Navy base. I'm just kidding.
You just want Richard to be the one.
I do. I'm just kidding.
Okay, so another thing Joan was saying is, I'm as tall as Peter. He would never have thought I was a child. To look at and not be like, oh, why is this adult standing here? It's a child dressed up. So there's no way.
Yeah.
He would have known there was an adult standing there.
Right.
I'm like, okay. So they keep digging, and they keep detecting, and investigating, and doing their thing.
Digging and detecting.
And 5 months later, in March of 1958, the truth finally comes out.
Oh, boy.
Richard. Golden Pizer, 43-year-old medical clerk, was a closeted gay woman and had recently divorced from her husband. She told police that she was befriended by Joan and that Joan had completely controlled her. She said Joan had poisoned her into thinking that Peter was an absolutely horrible and evil, vile person. And she said that she and Joan had visited their salon a few times so that she would know who Peter was and what he looked like. And she said September 21st, she had bought a .38 Special, a firearm, and had kept it with her until Halloween night. And she said on Halloween night, Joan borrowed a car. She came and picked her up, and she said, quote, Joan came over to my house with some clothing, blue jeans, khaki jackets, hats, eye masks, makeup, and red gloves. We dressed up, got in the car, and drove to Fabiano's home, arriving there around 9 p.m. End quote. So they wait until all the lights go out. So they sit there for 2 hours and wait for everyone to go to bed. And she said when all the lights are out, Golden Pizer goes to the door and rings the doorbell. She gets no response. She rings it again. She hears movement. Peter opens the door and says, it's a little late for this, right? She says, no. She said, when he answered the door, she brought the gun up with both hands and fired once. She said she ran to the car and they left. They took the car back to who it belonged to, and she said as they exited the vehicle and began walking in opposite directions, she said that Joan said to her, forget you ever saw me. Joan had wanted to be with Betty so bad that she had him killed.
Oh my gosh.
And Golden was a small woman, so she was more childlike as far as her size.
So Joan used her
to
get back with her ex.
And because she was a gay woman and had just divorced from a man, she probably wasn't feeling so great about men in general.
Yeah.
And then was like, who knows what she told her.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that is sad.
So she just used her. On March 11th, 1958, Joan and Golden both plead guilty to second-degree murder.
That ain't second degree. They planned that.
Right? They were sentenced. Okay, so Golden was sentenced to 5 years in prison. They officially got 5 years to life, is like what the sentence range is. She gets 5. I looked and couldn't find specifically how long Joan served, but they both got out early.
Okay.
But Golden had more time because she literally was the one who pulled the trigger and actually killed him.
Right.
Okay. They didn't want, Joan especially, they think, didn't want to go to trial because she was a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
And back then they thought that would mean you were insane.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, I'm not.
Right.
Whatever. So she didn't want to go to trial. So she pled guilty. I mean, plus she did it. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, so.
I wonder if they offered them second-degree murder if they just went ahead and pled guilty.
I don't know.
Because the fact that she bought the gun, waited however much time until they were
like
ready,
a month.
Then sat and waited for 2 hours for them to wait for the lights to go out.
That's 2 months.
That's what I'm saying.
That's gotta be first degree.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if they said, we'll drop it to the second degree if you plead guilty so there's no trial.
Probably. So, okay, so Betty ends up, she's still got Judy at home, who's 13 at the time. So she works as a hairstylist and actually joins another salon in Studio City, California in 1962 and works and does her thing. She never remarries, and then in August of 99, she's living in Palm Desert, California, and she passes away.
Okay.
And that is the end of that story.
Wow. That's so sad.
Isn't it? Just because she really...
That's sad in multiple different
angles.
Highly
recommend you guys go to the source, the references that we have, and look at the lady, because Joan, to me, reminds me of the lady who plays the Wicked Witch in The Wizard of Oz.
Oh my gosh.
Just like the way she looks, and it made me laugh.
Margaret Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she kind of looked like a Wicked Witch.
Aw.
Like she wasn't ugly or anything,
I mean, that's sad because, one, he didn't deserve to die. He hadn't done anything wrong.
Right.
And two, I feel bad for Golden because she just got manipulated into doing something that she probably never would have done otherwise.
And I also wonder if Betty was actually, interested in Joan as far as...
yeah.
Would she have been like, I'll get divorced and come with you? I just wonder how she felt about Joan wanting to be with her that much. If it was reciprocated. I don't think she had anything to do with it.
I mean, if they were only, if she only stayed with her for a month and then went back to her husband and said, I won't have anything to do with her anymore, maybe something happened. Maybe she didn't think she could trust her. Maybe,
Maybe just Joan
may have been one of those people
obsessed.
that was, very manipulative and always had to have somebody on the hook.
Yeah.
And so even if she told Betty, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you, and you're my person, she could have been one of those people that always had someone else that she was manipulating and keeping around at the same time.
Sounds like she did.
Yeah, and so I'm wondering if Betty was just like, you know what? No.
I got to go.
Yeah. And maybe that's why she, didn't end up staying with her any longer.
Right, and
was like, why am I doing this?
Plus, her daughter was at that house.
Yeah.
With her husband.
Yeah.
Your 13-year-old daughter. It's not it didn't say that she took her daughter with her.
Yeah.
It was just her. Anyway, I just thought that was the craziest.
That is crazy. And it's
because it's
just
what
really
the
sad.
Heck? Because I'm at first I was reading, I was like, is it a prank? And it's not funny? Is it a gang thing? An initiation?
Right.
And never would have thought, especially in 1957. Anyway, there's that for you to think about.
That is a crazy one, too. All right. Well,
all right, lay it on us, girl.
Here comes another one.
Okay, we're ready.
All right. So, on October 31st, that's Halloween.
What?
1981.
Oh my gosh.
The naked body of Tadia Benz was found in her bedroom in the St. Francis Convent in Amarillo, Texas.
What?
She had last been seen just the night before by the other nuns in the convent, and she'd been fine. It was around 7 a.m. when she was found, with a small amount of blood on her face by another nun. Despite the blood, no one suspected foul play, so her body was transported to a nearby funeral home. However, about an hour later, the nuns found a broken window that had been unlatched and opened on the first floor of the convent. They called the Amarillo police, who arrived at the scene around 9 a.m. The police quickly began securing the scene, recovering bed linens, the nightclothes that Sister Benz had been wearing, and a kitchen knife which they found under her bed.
Oh.
They lifted fingerprints and palm prints from the knife blade and handle and from the headboard of her bed. They also found the cut window screen and a second knife in the convent driveway. They also contacted the funeral home to recover her body.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, by the time they reached out, her body had been partially cleansed and arterial embalming had been completed.
Ah, that's so fast.
Freaking efficient funeral
I
home.
know, daggone it.
An autopsy was performed, however, and revealed multiple injuries. She had contusions to the head, stab wounds to the chest, and excoriation and abrasive injuries to the front and back of the neck. The cause of death was determined to be manual strangulation.
Oh, man.
The pathologist also found evidence of rape, including external bleeding and internal trauma to the vaginal area. Sperm and prostate secretions were present in the vagina, but the pathologist used the entire sample and could not test for the assailant's blood type, which was basically all they could do in 1981.
Yeah.
The police were eventually led to a suspect who lived in the area, Johnny Frank Garrett, a 17-year-old. He was seen running from the direction of the convent the night before Sister Benz's body was discovered. The prints that were found on the kitchen knife under the bed and the ones on the headboard matched Johnny.
Oh, wow.
They also found that the pubic hairs recovered from the crime scene had the same individual characteristics as Johnny's. And of course, now we know how unreliable that kind of evidence is, but in 1981, it was acceptable, and it was used in court regularly.
About all they had, I guess.
Yeah. The police also matched the steak knife found in the driveway to the same manufacturer, design, and make as one that was recovered from Johnny's house. They even had the same amount of wear to them, indicating they'd been purchased around the same time. Okay. So it was obviously the same knife set.
Yeah.
During his trial, Johnny testified that he'd entered the convent 2 days before the murder to steal. I was just going in to steal stuff.
Yeah, that's all.
He said he entered the convent through the front door around noon and went to the medication room and the cafeteria where he picked up the kitchen knife. Then he went into several of the bedrooms, and in one of them he bent the knife while he was trying to pry open a locked drawer. He testified that his fingerprints were on the headboard of Sister Benz's bed because he used the headboard to lean on when he was reaching for a gold cross hanging up on the wall over her bed. Then he heard a noise in the convent, and he got the heck out of there. He said he went to his mother's house at around 10:20 p.m. on October 30th and didn't leave there until later the next morning. So supposedly, Johnny had given a different statement to the police when he was arrested on November 9th, 1981. 2 police officers testified at his trial that after Johnny made his statement and they put it in writing, Johnny agreed that it was true but wouldn't sign it until he talked to a lawyer first. After talking with his counsel, Johnny then refused to sign the statement.
Interesting.
Which is what you're supposed to do, is talk to your counsel first.
Yeah.
The police said that in the statement, Johnny admitted breaking into the convent by knocking out the window on the bottom floor. He told them he went into a nun's room, and then he said, "There was a nun in the bed, and she acted as if she was going to scream. I covered her mouth so she couldn't make any noise. I started choking her until she passed out. I had sex with her. I left the convent the way I came in." Johnny denied that he ever made that statement. Instead, he told the court that the police officer would, quote, say something, and I would say, put it down. He would say something else, and I'd say, go ahead and put it down. Then he'd say, sign this, and I'd said, I ain't signing nothing. End quote.
Wow.
One of the nuns testified that the front door of the convent is normally locked, and no one would be able to enter the cafeteria around noon without being noticed. So she said that what Johnny told them was not the case.
Couldn't have happened.
She also denied that there are any locked drawers in the convent and said that there's never been a gold cross above Sister Benz's bed. And additionally, no valuables have been reported missing. So
they're nuns. They wouldn't have had that many valuables anyway.
Exactly. Johnny was convicted of the murder of Sister Tadea Benz. During the punishment phase of the trial, the prosecution brought up his past aggressions, his reputation in the community. His mother made a plea on his behalf for mercy. But despite being a juvenile when the crime took place, Johnny Frank Garrett was sentenced to death.
Wow.
Johnny's lawyers filed appeals on his behalf, of course, saying that potentially exculpatory evidence was destroyed when the pathologist used the vaginal sample to test for semen and prostate secretions instead of checking for the murderer's blood type. But the appellate court basically said they can test the evidence in whatever way they want and whichever order they want, so too bad.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So in January 1992, as Johnny's execution date approached, the Catholic bishops of Texas wrote a letter pleading for Johnny's sentence to be commuted to life in prison.
Oh, wow.
And although the victim of his crime was a Catholic nun, they stated, quote, "We continue to be opposed to the death penalty. Our opposition to capital punishment is based on our strong belief in the inherent sacredness of human life and on our obligation to be faithful to the teaching of Jesus Christ, which calls us to reconciliation and to forgiveness of those who wrong us," end quote.
Mm-hmm.
They were not the only group advocating for Johnny's punishment to be reconsidered. Other Catholic organizations in Texas had also reached out in favor of changing Johnny's punishment. Also, Amnesty International was very vocal about Texas executing an inmate who was a juvenile at the time of the crime. Aside from his age, though, Johnny had a lot of other things going on that were not explained in court. When Johnny was a child, his stepfather raped him and then hired him out to another man for sex. From the age of 14, he was forced to perform, quote, bizarre sexual acts and perform in pornographic homosexual films. At the age of 10, he was introduced to alcohol and other drugs by members of his own family. He then used serious substances, including brain-damaging things such as amphetamines and paint thinner. He was regularly beaten and was once put on the burner of a stove, resulting in severe scarring.
Oh.
This extreme abuse and his mental health issues were not told to the jury in his trial. 3 mental health experts who had examined Johnny between 1982 and 1986 agreed that he was extremely mentally impaired, chronically psychotic, and brain damaged as a result of several severe head injuries he had obtained as a child.
Oh, wow.
Johnny suffered from paranoid delusions, including the belief that lethal injection would not kill him. In fact, one of the experts that had met with him said that his case was, quote, one of the most virulent histories of abuse and neglect I have encountered in over 28 years of practice.
Oh my gosh.
Amnesty International also called his clemency hearing by the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles, quote, grossly inadequate. They voted unanimously not to recommend commutation of his death sentence, and Johnny Frank Garrett was executed on February 11th, 1992. Wow. Though Johnny was likely guilty of killing Sister Tadia Benz on Halloween 1981, his own history, his mental impairment, and the abuse and brain damage he had endured makes his death a sad story as well.
That's awful.
Yeah, he went through a lot.
Yeah, he did.
He went through, she probably being a nun and Catholic and believing the same things that those Catholic bishops believed.
Wouldn't have.
And there was another group of nuns, I think, a Catholic nun group that was in Texas at the time that had written, like, on his behalf too.
Yeah.
There were several different religious organizations that had written on his behalf. And the lady that he killed would probably have written in and saying, you can't do this to him.
Yeah.
He probably, he was so messed up he didn't really know what he was doing.
The bottom line, the brain damage alone.
Yeah.
And the fact that he had, like, delusions and all this stuff, like, that alone, even without the sexual assaults and all of that from when he was younger, just the brain damage, you don't know what that's going to make someone do.
Yeah.
And it's sad because, yeah, he probably did do it. And she deserves justice, but so does he.
Right. And that's why they were saying, like,
his entire
they
life.
weren't saying let him go free.
Right. They're like, just don't kill him.
Just, don't execute him. Give him life in prison.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and the fact that he was 17 when it happened, I mean, but judges can decide if they will
Yeah.
allow them to be tried as an
Yeah, and
adult.
17 is like,
Right on the edge.
I think 17 is the age, the limit of age, but Amnesty International also was pointing out Texas has the highest rate of executions in the US.
Yeah.
This is one of the statistics they had in the thing that I found here. It's going to be in our show notes, the link to this article that I found. Between the resumption of executions in 1977 and the end of 1997, the USA put to death 432 prisoners nationwide, with Texas alone accounting for 1/3 of the total at 144.
Oh my gosh.
144 out of 432 were Texas.
Wow. And that was only, what, 20 years?
That was a 20-year span.
Wow. That's crazy.
Texas has carried out more executions than the next 4 highest executing states in total: Virginia, Florida, Missouri, and Louisiana.
Heck on.
Yeah. So it looks like where Texas had the 144, the next highest was Virginia with 46.
Oh my gosh.
Then Florida with 39, Missouri with 29, and Louisiana with 24.
Which was like a third each of what Texas had.
Yeah. And it was 29 states total that had
More
had
than a
executions during that time. Those were just the top 5, with Texas being 144. So that was one of the things that they were, specifically saying was not only his story, but just in general, Texas just kills a lot of inmates.
Yeah.
And, like with that high of a rate of executions, there have got to be people like this who slip through the cracks.
Yeah.
People who have mental health issues, who have mental disabilities, who have brain damage, literal brain damage, and who are juveniles.
Kind of makes you wonder, like, what cognitive level he might have been at.
I know.
At 17 back
what was
then.
his IQ? What was his
right, like
emotional IQ? What was his understanding of what he did?
Right.
He
And
had delusions. He did not believe that lethal injection would kill him.
Yeah,
it's like, my friend, it's an execution.
My dude.
That's what it's for.
Yeah. That's really sad.
It's a really sad case.
Really sad.
And it's really sad and kind of chilling that the victim of the crime would likely, I can't speak for her, but would likely have said that it was not right to put him to death.
And that's just their religious views. And then she would have probably felt like what we're saying. Like I don't want to say he didn't deserve it, but like he didn't deserve it.
Well, yeah. In his mind and with his ability to reason, he wouldn't have fully comprehended the extent of what he was doing.
Right. Or the consequences
yes.
that would happen to him.
Long-term consequences, and understand her feelings about it and her, like, the repercussions for her, the trauma for her. I don't think he could sympathize or put himself in other people's shoes that way because he was never taught to.
Well, and
his life was only about abuse and other people's satisfaction.
Yeah. That's awful.
Yeah.
That is awful.
Given drugs from 10 years old.
Oh my gosh.
And then literal stuff that would damage his brain. He started doing paint thinner and stuff.
And getting burned on the stove.
Like sat on a stove, a hot stove, like put up on the stove. And he was severely scarred from that, and then sexually abused, given to someone else, like
by
sold
his
to someone else. By his own family. Yeah.
Like that alone, it's like they're the ones who're supposed to take care of you, and you're supposed to be safe with them.
Yeah. So there's no way he could have known, because he wasn't taught. Again, there's no way he could have known what it was like for someone else.
Right. Well, and if he literally lived his entire life that way, that was normal.
Yeah.
Quote unquote normal. Who knows what he probably didn't think anyone else it was any different for anyone else.
Right. Yeah, he was only 17, and it said from the time he was 14. That was only 3 years.
Yeah. And then having
It's
drugs
been
and
7
alcohol and
years that
stuff.
he'd been doing drugs and stuff from when he was
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
He was only 17.
That's when your brain's doing all of its forming and everything.
He was completely.
That's really sad.
Yeah, he was broken.
And for her too. Like, I don't want to forget about her.
No, of course not.
But it's like,
there's no reason
so...
that she had to die. There was no, like, she was doing what she was supposed to be doing. She was sleeping, you know. She was asleep. And it was a sad way for her to die and to be violated like that. That's what I'm saying. It was sad for both of them.
Yeah, it really is. That's just a really sad situation all around. I mean, thanks for sharing it and everything.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. All right, well, shall I?
Yes, you shall. Tell us about it.
So this little story was titled The Candyman Murder.
Oh, boy.
Not to be confused with the Candyman serial killer.
Okay.
Because there was a serial killer that was called the Candyman. This is not that person.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to scoot on over to Houston, Texas.
Oh, we're going to Texas again. Mm-hmm. We were just there.
In 1974.
Okay.
Okay.
This is a few years before mine.
We are in the Deer Park suburb of Houston on Halloween night. All right, so Ronald O'Brien was an optician and a church deacon, and he had been in like the insurance business and had also worked for a chemical company and was employed by the Texas State Optical Company, TSO. And so now this is in 1974. He was taking home $150 a week.
Oh my gosh.
Which apparently was a decent amount of money back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
$150 in 1974 is worth about $985 today.
So that's what he did a week.
$1,000 a week.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we don't like him.
Go Ronald.
We don't like him.
Oh, we don't like.
He's a jerk face.
Okay, we don't like a jerk.
So he lived with his wife and 2 kids. Timothy was 8 and Elizabeth was 5. He was living the life, doing his thing. Halloween night, it's cold, misty, because it rains a lot on Halloween, or it used to back in the day. And so Ronald and the father of 2 of the neighbors' kids, it's the Bates family, they're taking the kids out. The moms are at home. The dads are taking the kids around the neighborhood to trick or treat. They're walking around and they get kind of close to a darkened house where like nobody seemed to be there. And Ronald kind of
That's because that family's sitting in their den downstairs in the back of the house being like, don't ring my doorbell. Right? They're watching a movie downstairs.
We're not doing that.
Yeah.
They're out at a Halloween party somewhere. Okay, so they go past that, but he kind of lingers in like the driveway in the dark area for a little bit. And then he's like, oh, hey, that house is giving out good stuff. And he pulls out 5 21-inch long pixie sticks. You were scared for a second, weren't you? 21 inches.
That's huge. Those things are like 7 inches usually, tiny. No,
21 inches.
Oh my gosh, that is a sugar high. 5 of them. Diabetes for all the children's.
Yeah, he pulls them out. He's like, look what they were giving out, even though the place was dark and the kids didn't actually go up to the house. So he gives it to Tim and Elizabeth, and then the 2 little friends, and then another child that was kind of nearby. I don't know if they just knew them, but that kid too got the 5th one.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, wait, let me start over. He gives them the pixie stick, which he had been hiding in his coat sleeves.
Now he's being sus, and I don't like it.
So they're going home. Timothy's like, I want to have some of my candy, it's Halloween night. I'm sure
sound just like him.
Sound like. He's 8, yeah.
Yeah.
So Ronald helps him open the tube, and Timothy's like, ugh, it's kind of bitter. And he's like, that's nothing Kool-Aid won't fix. So he gets him some Kool-Aid to help wash the bitter down. And then he's like, all right, bedtime. I'm like, well, first of all, that's too soon. because the child's going to be high on the sugar from the Kool-Aid at least.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he puts him to bed. Almost immediately, Timothy starts vomiting and convulsing. And in less than an hour, Timothy is dead.
Oh, God.
Now, Elizabeth did not eat any of the pixie stick. So she was not hurt. She never felt bad or anything. The other 3 kids also didn't eat any. They were told they had to wait the next day because it's late at night.
Right.
So they hadn't actually had any of it. Only Timothy did. Ronald had filled the top couple of inches of the tube with cyanide. Of all 5 of the tubes.
But they're children.
Mm-hmm. And not just his own. He gave it to 3 other children, knowing there was cyanide in it. So the big question is, why?
Yeah. Is he just a child hater?
They said he was motivated by a $31,000 life insurance policy that he had taken out on his kids.
And he had to give it to other kids so that it wouldn't seem like it was just his kids.
Exactly. That's what they're thinking.
Oh my gosh.
So it's the neighbors' kids that get the pleasure of
But does he
being
not
the
realize that still only 5 kids out of the neighborhood
Right?
and they're all kids he spoke to?
And the dad's going to be like, well, he had these pixie sticks.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it was weird. It was this one house that was dark and
They actually talked to the people at that house and they're like, what? They clearly had
they're like,
nothing to do
no,
with
we
it.
were hiding in the back so we
Yeah.
wouldn't have to talk to
Yeah.
somebody's kids.
Yeah. So I found the legal documents of like what was said in court and stuff as far as like the official here's what happened.
Uh-huh. I
Or
like
here's
these.
what was brought up or
I like
whatever.
these because they're very detailed usually.
Quote, the record reflects that appellant Ronald Jerkface,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't say that, guys.
It does.
Had serious personal financial problems. Prior to moving into the townhouse, Ronald sold the family residence and applied the $6,000 in proceeds to the most pressing obligations. These financial difficulties culminated to the point that in October of 1974, his take-home salary was virtually consumed by rent, car payments, and grocery expenses.
What kind of freaking cars and stuff did he have?
I don't know. He
What kind of
also
debt did he
owed
have?
about $2,000 on a delinquent loan and another $800 to the quote government. Doesn't go into
Taxes,
what it was.
maybe.
He was 8 months behind on his $149 a month car payment and had received a letter threatening repossession.
How much was the car payment?
$149 a month.
So basically what he made a week.
Right.
So that'd be like me having $1,000 car payment a month.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
That is dumb.
Okay.
Somebody saw him coming a mile away when they sold him that car.
Yeah, for real. So he had apparently openly discussed his financial burdens and had attempted to borrow $100 from an associate. The Medical and Dental Service Bureau refused a loan in the amount of $1,750 to him. One of the district attorneys for Harris County, which was the county that they were in, his name is Vic Driscoll, said, quote, Ronald had a bad reputation for truth and veracity.
Yeah, I would say so.
His whole life has been a lie. He has used his church, he has used his friends, he has used his community and his family, and, worst of all, he has used his son on the altar of greed.
Yes.
They kind of compared it, this is a biblical thing, when Abraham prepares to sacrifice his son,
yeah,
and everything, only Ronald did.
That is legit.
So on June 3rd of 1975, he is convicted of murder. I don't know if he got any, he basically attempted murder to me on on other kids.
4 other kids.
Right. But I don't know if that was even, I mean, because one thing in murder is like a life in prison or the death penalty or
Now,
whatever.
the death penalty should have been at him.
He got the death penalty.
Okay, good.
And in March of 1984, so 9 years later, 10 years after the actual thing, he was executed at the age of 39.
That's one thing I will say about Texas. At least when they do it, they do it.
They
don't make them wait 35 years. They go ahead and do it.
And that is the story of the Candyman.
Can you imagine, too, now, that little boy's sister spent the rest of her life hating Halloween?
Yeah. Yeah.
The little friends or cousins or whatever.
Yeah, the friends.
Friends. Every year, that's what they would have thought of.
Think about that dad, too.
Yeah.
That other dad.
Yeah. Oh, no kidding.
Like, can you imagine? And it wouldn't have been anything
like
when
they found out what happened, like, did they run to that other kid, the random kid that lived in the neighborhood or whatever, and be like, don't eat that pixie stick? Like,
yeah, they mentioned something about, like,
they had to be just like, whoa. Yeah.
And
because usually we were allowed to have, like, a couple pieces of candy.
Yeah.
And stuff before we went home, and then, like, got home and maybe had another piece, because it didn't make us go crazy or anything. So,
right.
But that would be a common thing, I think, for most parents. Let their kid have a piece of candy or a couple pieces of candy before they went to bed or whatever. So it wouldn't have been unusual for the other dad, to let his kids have a couple pieces. And what if they had a little bit of it?
That would have saved him is the fact that it's such a big one.
Yeah.
They'd have been like, let's not open it yet.
Yeah. But that was pixie stick. That stuff was just sugar.
It's just
So dust. He might have been like, open it, but you can only have about this much, which would have been the exact amount of cyanide.
Exactly. And it said that, like, one end was heat sealed, like it was supposed to. The other one he had stapled together. But no one saw it because he helped Timothy open his.
Right.
And I guess no one else had really looked because they weren't going to open it yet.
Yeah.
Also, he worked, for a chemical company.
Uh-huh.
And he was talking to a friend of his who did, because he was trying to get cyanide, and like it talked about all these questions he had been asking and stuff like that. So he had been planning it for a while.
What an ass!
And to be so,
how can you do that to your own children?
To be so greedy, or whatever. I don't even know what the right.
Get another job, you jerk.
Yeah, get a life, man.
File some bankruptcy or something.
It's just crazy, and it's how 8 and 5-year-old. He was going to kill both of his kids.
I was like, they didn't put you in this position. You did this.
Yeah. Your dumbass did it.
And if his son had lived, then that's their mom taking care of both your kids while you're in prison.
Imagine their mom, how she felt. Because she's sending them out with their dad.
That they're as safe as they can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so, yay, he's taking him trick-or-treating. That's so sweet. Yay.
He probably volunteered to do it, too.
Probably. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah. That was the only way his plan would work. If he had him up his sleeve.
It's just horrible.
Oh, what a vile, vile man. That is disgusting.
I know. It's just
And awful. I wonder if that's where the urban legend of, like,
yes,
the some of that stuff comes from, where it's like, let your parents check your candy, there could be poison in it. There's razor blades in your apple or whatever.
Yeah. Ugh. They actually mentioned that in some of the articles I was reading.
That's just messed up.
Also, go on to the show notes and click and see his stupid face if you want to.
If you want to look at his stupid face.
Maybe print it out and throw darts at her.
Yeah, that's a good dart face. Yeah, do it. All right.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, well, this is our last one, and there's no suspect and no murder in it.
Hallelujah.
It's a Halloween accident. It's a sad one, too.
So it's... I don't know if we can handle anymore.
Here we go.
Okay.
Most teenage boys like to play pranks, especially on their sisters and especially around Halloween. And that was the case for 16-year-old Jordan Moreland, who lived in Louisville, Kentucky. The teenager had already played a few pranks on his family while they decorated for Halloween. And on September 23rd, 2013, he decided on a new prank. Jordan decided to scare his sister by pretending to hang himself in the noose in the yard.
Oh no. Oh
This
no.
family had set up Halloween pretty early, about a month early. So he put the noose around his neck, but he must have slipped, or the noose unexpectedly tightened, cutting off his air. Jordan's sister saw him and ran inside to their mom, and she told her that Jordan was hanging from the noose in the front yard. Their mom told her that Jordan had been playing jokes on them, and he was probably trying to pull one over on them now. But Jordan's sister told her that his eyes were closed and he was drooling. When Jordan's mom went outside to check on him, his back was facing her, and she soon realized that it was no longer a prank. She couldn't even lift him. They called emergency services, but it would turn out to be too late. Jordan was in a coma for about 12 hours as his organs shut down, and then he passed away. Jordan Moreland had been a smart, happy high school student with a bright future. He was in ROTC in school and was hoping to become a Marine once he graduated. A classmate posted on his obituary that Jordan made people happy. They said they couldn't remember a time when they were around him that they weren't smiling. Jordan had his whole life ahead of him, and I just hope his family has found some peace in the years since he passed away. I don't blame Jordan for what happened to him. He was just a kid. He was playing around. He wasn't trying to hurt anyone, least of all himself. That being said, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a minute.
Please do.
Pranks sound like fun to people. A lot of people like them.
Yeah.
I never have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like being fooled, and I don't like being made to feel stupid.
Right.
And as I've gotten older, I've heard more and more stories like this one, where something's gone wrong. And I guess as an adult and someone who researches disasters and listens to podcasts about disasters, I'm more in tune with how easily one little thing can happen and cause a catastrophe. When I sit under a highway overpass, I look for cracks in the cement. I go to concert venues and I look around for things to hide behind in case of an active shooter situation. I try to remember fire exits when I enter a building I've never been in before. Because it only takes a tiny thing, one mistake that some human made on a calculation 40 years ago to cause a building to fall, or a machine to short circuit and start a fire. And I watch those epic fail videos on YouTube, and instead of laughing, I cringe and I yell at the people about how they could have died and how stupid they are for thinking that they could do whatever it was that they tried to do.
Mm-hmm.
We humans are fragile little things, and we are surrounded by big mechanical things and even bigger things that Mother Nature stuck right in our path, and we tend to forget that she's stronger than us. And no matter how powerful our machines are, there's this thing called physics, and it will kick our asses whether we like it or not. We are not in control, so we have to be careful, and there is no reason to tempt fate. Rant over.
That's so heartbreaking because he was just trying to have fun.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I don't like prank videos either. I don't like to be made to feel stupid anyway. But when they're dangerous pranks,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. And ever since I became a mother, especially, forget that. I can't handle that.
He was totally just being silly, and like I said, I don't blame him at all. He was not causing someone else to be hurt. And that's not why I was saying all that.
Right.
I just
feel strongly about that. Yeah.
There are too many times that, and I know it makes me seem like a wet blanket when people are like, oh, we should do blah, 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 or we should do this, or, what if they did this? And I'm like, no, because what if this happens?
Because those few moments of possible funny is not worth a life or a life.
I'm always looking at the what if. What if? And it might seem like something small, but I'm like, but that's happened to people before.
That's all it takes.
Yes.
Yeah, we know that.
Yes. I see the people on YouTube and they're doing a backflip and they land funny, and I'm like, you could have broken your neck.
Yeah.
And people are like, yeah, but people do that all the time and they don't break their neck. And I'm like, yeah, but then there's a football player who like tried to do a backflip as a celebration, and he landed on his neck and he killed himself. This happened a few months ago.
Oh my gosh. I know I saw a
It
video
broke
of
his neck in the right place and he died.
a guy was a basketball player, had tried to like shoot the basket, and like he was running and it didn't go, and he got mad and he slammed his head against like the padded thing
Uh-huh.
and paralyzed himself
Yeah.
during the game. They had video of it.
Yeah.
And then I also saw where you know, some of like China and stuff has some of the funny game shows where it's like obstacles or whatever. Well, the guy who was like the host was being silly, and they were in like this muddy, watery pit area or whatever. And I don't know what he was thinking or if he just didn't realize, but he dove into it. Only the water was only like 3 inches deep.
Oh no.
And he paralyzed himself, and he was face down in the water, and they thought he was being silly. So they were joking and laughing and like shoving him and like,
And he was drowning.
And he was drowning.
I mean, that's just, that's it. It doesn't take much.
And I know that's not a prank.
No.
I get that.
But that's the thing. It's just, it's like I said, we are not in control all the time like we think we are.
Even when we try to be, we're not really.
No, we're not.
We just have to, we do it as much as we can because we also don't want to live our lives afraid of everything.
Right.
Because that's not living.
And that's why you have to manage risk.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, pranks might be funny, but
are they really worth it?
There are pranks that don't actually put you in physical danger.
Yeah.
That can be funny too.
Yeah. Like, don't do the scary ones, guys. Yeah. I think of like the show and the movie Jackass. All the stuff they did to themselves and how many times they could have killed themselves.
Oh, I mean,
just for a laugh.
Kill themselves, maim themselves. There's other so people. Much. Yeah.
And it's like, I remember watching that the first time and just being like, this is so stupid. Yeah. Like, I couldn't find the funny in it because everything they did was so dangerous. Yeah. Just about.
I've never actually watched it because I knew that I would just I would just be made like ill by it.
Yeah,
because
you don't need to.
I've always felt like I don't want to make other people feel stupid. Yeah. Because I hate when people make me feel stupid.
Yeah.
And trying to trick someone, it doesn't, I don't feel good that way. Like, yeah. It doesn't
make you feel better. It
right.
Just makes you feel like
so
crap.
I feel like, like making a joke is funny, but pulling a prank on somebody where you make them believe something that isn't true, unless you immediately let them in on it so that then they can realize, oh, that is funny. To me, like, having them believe something for a few minutes, like, I know the show Punk'd back in the day. Oh, I never watched that because I was like, no, because people get mad and
it's dangerous.
And
for the people who are playing the pranks, like, you don't know how that person's going to react.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that they do. There are prank channels on YouTube and stuff too, and I'm like, what if somebody pulls out a gun on you?
And it could happen so easily.
So easily.
And it probably has, and we just haven't seen the article about it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's like, I always talk about Sam and Colby, the YouTube channel, because they do ghost hunting. Well, Colby was pranking Sam once, because they would prank each other. But he took it way too far, and he acted like he had been kidnapped. And Sam was like tied up in a chair, and he truly thought they were going to kill Colby. And they recorded it, and it's absolutely heartbreaking to see because they are best friends. And of course, Colby has apologized. He's like, I'm really sorry. I never meant for it to be. I don't know why he didn't think it would be serious. But like, I probably wouldn't be able to trust him.
Yeah.
Ever again.
Yeah, no kidding.
And it's absolutely heartbreaking. And so Colby had to come out and be like, it's a prank. I'm really sorry. I didn't because like Sam is like crying because
Yeah.
he thinks his best friend's gonna die.
That is
And they're
not
like
a
18 or
prank.
19 at
Yeah.
the time or something like that. And I'm just like, that's not funny. That's
Yeah.
not. And
That is either a terrible, stupid, not funny prank, or it is a way to get views. And
right,
either way, it's sickening.
right. And he wasn't doing it like I don't know if he was doing it for the channel back in the day,
Hmm.
but they showed it as like Colby did this and he shouldn't have. Like that's
Yeah.
what they were saying. And I think Colby even said I took it too far.
Yeah.
I can't do that, and he's apologized and all that stuff. But I'm just like, that's like, I mean, I just wouldn't even think that was funny because, like, what if it was real?
I know. Well, and the whole the boy who cried wolf thing.
Yeah,
Then what happens if something serious does
we
happen?
know what happens.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm gonna say it anyway. Kind of like the story you just told. He had pranked, he had pranked, he had pranked. So mom's like, oh, he's just pranking us
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. And I
And
mean, and
nothing
by
to
the time
her
she went
either.
out there, it was too late anyway. Like
Right.
it was too late before the daughter
Already.
even came to get the mom anyway.
Right.
So yeah,
But
I
it's
know
like
that.
she was like, oh, he's just trying to get us again.
Yeah.
Because, and that's another scary thing.
Yeah. Because what if it hadn't been too late
Because it's funny
and
until
it
it's
was like,
real.
yeah, exactly. Um yeah, the closest thing to a prank I did is on boss's day, I made a card for the boss, like a silly one that I drew or whatever. And when I called our boss to come up front, I said it in a very serious voice. I said, "Can you come up front, please?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she came up, and my coworker was on the phone, so she's like, "What is it?" And I said, "It's something we both want to talk to you about." So she wouldn't,
I bet she was terrified, like, oh no,
she was
what has
probably like,
happened?
"Oh crap, what are they going to complain about now?" And that was like the worst thing I could do, because then I was like, but I knew that within a few minutes it was a relief, like, and it wasn't even like, it wasn't anything physically dangerous. It wasn't anything like bad, It was more just that I was being serious, and it was in a situation where I didn't really need to be.
And you wouldn't have been normally unless it was serious.
Yeah. And so then when I pulls out this stupid little card that I made, she's like, "Oh my gosh." And she kind of rolls her eyes and starts laughing, and she's like, "Thanks, guys." So it wasn't a big deal. It only lasted a few minutes, and she was fine, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's like, it didn't hurt anybody's feelings, and it was actually a relief. And
Well, and also pranking can start edging towards bullying as well, I
yeah,
think, especially now. And then we all know how that can end so
yeah,
often.
true,
And it's not worth the laughs. It
right.
is not worth it.
No, it's not.
Like what you did, no big deal.
Right.
Okay? Like it's not going to cause a horrible thing.
No,
She's going
that
to be like,
ended in a
"Oh
happy
no."
thing. So,
Right. But it's like it's just when things are physical or like so serious, like it makes me feel ill.
when it's an emotional impact or a physical assault, it's not worth it. If it's safety related, or it's just not worth it.
I agree.
It's risk management. We are not in control.
And Halloween time is a time where April Fool's Day and Halloween are
Yeah.
the times that you most often see it.
Hmm.
And it's like, especially scary ones, because everyone's kind of on edge anyway because it's Halloween.
Yeah.
And so then you're like, is it real? Is this fake? Like, what is, because it could be real.
Yeah.
That person coming at you could be really coming at you and like a
Right.
crazy person.
Yeah. I read when I was researching for this, I read a quick story about a guy who had dressed up for a Halloween party as like a bank robber, and he had
Oh,
on
no.
like some kind of suit, like a pretend bulletproof vest or whatever, and a like a plastic AK-47 or whatever, and like, I don't know. However he was dressed, he looked like an actual bank robber. So he'd
Okay.
been at the party or whatever, and when the party was over, he walked down to a Starbucks to get a coffee. but he still had his costume on.
Oh, no.
So the moment he walks in with this plastic AK-47, customers start screaming. One of the baristas drops behind the counter. The other one sticks her hands in the air. Somebody calls the police. And, like, everybody's, like, freaked out.
Like,
and
there's
he's
gonna be a
just like,
shooting
so
in
the
the
police
Starbucks.
show up. And he's like, it's a plastic gun. Like, I was at a party, And it's like, what if there had been a customer in there with a gun?
Yeah.
This is America. Everybody's got a gun.
Well, and it's like, I don't have a problem with people having guns, but it's scary because that person would have every reason to think that person's getting ready to shoot the entire store.
Yeah. In this day and age with mass shootings
Could
and stuff,
easily
yes.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's the thing.
It's like you put yourself and other people in danger too.
So once for Halloween, I dress up like a criminal,
Mm-hmm.
but I have the old school black and white stripe.
Right.
So it's completely obvious, and it was
that
like
it's
Halloween
not real.
party.
Yeah.
And obviously, I didn't have a gun. I didn't have any weapons on me.
Right.
That's another thing, though. Like, don't carry a weapon like that.
Right.
But
yeah.
he's not thinking anything about it because he's
gonna
not
be
a bank robber.
Right.
So
if you're going to be a bank robber, if you're going to be a policeman for Halloween, and you want to carry a gun, make it a hot pink water gun.
Like an obvious...
Something that is so obviously pretend that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because let me tell y'all, if law enforcement sees that gun and it looks real,
they'll take
everything changes,
yeah.
though. Everything has to change because...
They have to be cautious. They can't.
To. Because,
they can't assume.
Like we always say, it only takes one instance for everything to change. And unfortunately, they do have to assume a lot of times the most negative because that is the job.
Yeah.
And that is what they have seen quite often. We're not going to get onto that soapbox. Okay. But don't prank people, okay? Yeah. Don't prank them with violent or extra serious things.
Yep.
Keep it a boss's day funny card. Yeah. Okay, guys?
And on Halloween especially, please be careful.
And you know what? While we're talking about it, don't be doing those stupid things like where you egg someone's house or...
Yeah, that's dumb.
But first of all, that's
also another story.
Tired.
I saw another story where somebody had like egged a power substation that caused an explosion and put 8,000 people out of power one night.
See, not funny, guys.
No, not funny for those people that paid for their electricity and some stupid teenager
Did
egged
they find
the
out
substation.
Who did it?
Yeah, it was a 15-year-old and he turned himself in. He was there when the thing caused the explosion. He ended up with ringing in his ears.
I respect that he turned himself in. Yeah.
Well, because he had ringing in his ears, he had to go to the hospital. He probably thought he was going to have it for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Wow, guys.
This turned into a long episode. I apologize for
Halloween and
that
stuff.
was a very tall soapbox. Why do they call it a soapbox? I don't care. You know what? I'll look it up later on my own time.
Another time. Another podcast episode.
Alrighty. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Thanks for joining us. Yes, we hope you have happy Halloween.
No dumb pranks. No realistic looking fake guns.
But do have fun.
No real guns on Halloween either, because dangerous. Don't eat the cyanide. Don't kill your mom. Don't
do bad
decapitate people.
Just have fun so you could enjoy it and everyone else can as well.
And remember,
watch for deer.